What could possibly drive thousands of knights and kings to leave their homes, risk their lives, and travel across dangerous lands, all for a distant city they had never seen? In 1095, Europe was in chaos, and a powerful call to arms was issued. Reclaim Jerusalem, the holy city. What followed was a war that not only shaped the medieval world, but also set the stage for centuries of conflict between Christian and Muslim forces. But this was no simple march. What began as a religious mission soon became a journey filled with unexpected challenges and bitter rivalries. In 1095, the Byzantine Empire was on the verge of collapse. Muslim forces were advancing, and Emperor Alexios I knew he couldn't hold them off alone. Desperate, he turned to the west for help. His call reached Pope Urban II, who saw an opportunity. At the Council of Clermont, Pope Urban delivered a fiery speech that electrified Europe. He urged Christians to take up arms and march to the Holy Land, promising not just victory, but eternal salvation for those who fought. It was a call too powerful to ignore. For many, it wasn't just about faith. Joining the crusade offered a chance for adventure, glory, and even wealth. The prospect of a new life in the East was irresistible to both knights and commoners alike. The First Crusade was not commanded by a single king or emperor, but rather by a coalition of powerful and ambitious leaders, each with their own motives. Among the most influential was Godfrey of Bouillon, a nobleman from what is now Belgium. Known for his piety, Godfrey saw the crusade as both a religious duty and a chance to establish a Christian kingdom in the Holy Land, with himself as its ruler. Then there was Raymond of Toulouse, one of the oldest and most experienced leaders. Raymond led the largest contingent of crusaders, and while deeply religious, he also had his eyes on securing political influence and expanding his territories. His wealth and military prowess made him a key figure, but his ambitions often put him at odds with the other leaders. Bohemond of Taranto, a Norman prince, was perhaps the most opportunistic of them all. While he publicly supported the Crusade's religious mission, his true goal was more straightforward. He wanted land and power. Bohemond saw the Crusade as a way to seize valuable territory in the East, and his cunning nature made him a formidable player in the power dynamics of the Crusade. Though they were united under the banner of Christianity, these leaders often clashed. Personal rivalries, conflicting goals, and disputes over land threatened to tear the Crusade apart from within. For them, the Crusade was not just a holy war, it was a struggle for dominance, influence, and control over the spoils of victory. The march. The journey to Jerusalem was far more treacherous than the Crusaders had anticipated. As they marched from Europe, they were met with harsh conditions that tested their endurance and faith. They crossed scorching deserts where the heat was unbearable, followed by freezing mountain passes where many men and horses succumbed to the cold. The terrain was unforgiving, and soon supplies ran dangerously low, forcing the Crusaders to ration food and water. Hunger and disease spread rapidly, weakening their forces with every step. As if the natural obstacles weren't enough, Muslim forces continually harassed the Crusaders, launching ambushes and skirmishes. These forces, familiar with the land, used the terrain to their advantage, striking when the Crusaders were at their weakest. Morale dropped, and many began to question if they would ever reach Jerusalem. The turning point came in 1097 at the Siege of Antioch, a pivotal moment in the Crusade. For months, the Crusaders laid siege to the heavily fortified city, but as time wore on, they found themselves trapped, cut off from reinforcements, and starving. Conditions grew desperate. Disease ravaged their ranks, and starvation pushed them to the brink of collapse. Yet, in a surprising turn of events, they managed to breach Antioch's walls. The city fell, but not without a bloody struggle. The victory at Antioch gave the Crusaders a much-needed boost, reinvigorating their mission. However, it was clear that their hardest challenges were still ahead, the climax. After years of hardship and brutal battles, the Crusaders finally arrived at the gates of Jerusalem in 1099. Exhausted but determined, they launched their final assault. The city fell after a short but intense siege, and what followed shocked the world. The Crusaders stormed Jerusalem with overwhelming force, unleashing horrific violence on its inhabitants. Thousands of men, women, and children, Muslim, Jewish, and even Christian, were killed. The streets ran red with blood as the Crusaders claimed victory in the name of their holy cause. This massacre left a deep scar on the relationship between Christians and Muslims. A wound that would echo for centuries was now in Christian hands, but at what cost? While the Crusaders achieved their goal, the brutal violence left a lasting scar. The First Crusade succeeded in reclaiming the Holy Land, but it also planted the seeds for centuries of conflict between Christians and Muslims, deepening the divide between East and West. This wasn't just a single event. The First Crusade marked the beginning of a long series of wars that would shape the medieval world. And the tensions it ignited still echo through history, influencing even modern conflicts. Was the First Crusade truly a divine mission, or simply a quest for power and land? And what lessons can we take from this bloody chapter of history? If you found this exploration of the First Crusade interesting, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history, and leave a comment below. What do you think was the true motivation behind the Crusades?